Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show. Bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Streaming live on the Foundation Podcast YouTube channel, here's Nick and Matt.
On a scale 1 to 10, this is going to be kind of like a two-part question, but on a scale 1 to 10, how do you rate your season so far? And then talk to us about, you had an 8th place finish at the PDGA World Championships. You then won a C tier right after, but then had a couple weeks off coming into this event. So give us a rate on your season and then kind of just your mental thoughts on how everything's been since the World Championships.
Yeah, that's a weird question. It's not a weird question. I'm just interpreting it as that. Gosh, I would probably say an 8 out of 10 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm doing pretty dang well. 4 Pro Tour wins is the most I've ever had in the year. My other best year, I won, I believe, 3 NTs and a major. That was back in 2018. So, this is kind of almost right on par, and, I have potential to expand on it. So, for me, it's mostly, trying to keep that consistency and, put myself up near the top, because I have certain goals that I want to achieve this year. So, I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because I felt a little bit lackluster in a few events, but, you can't win them all. So I think that the big disappointment for me, the biggest blemish was Waco. It was like a 47th place. I was injured at that event, so that could be a little bit of a reason. But, I don't like looking at the 47th place finish. It just makes me feel not good about myself. And then Worlds, I fought back. I'm proud of myself for, keeping my head in it and, at least getting a top 10. Top 10 is important to me. You can't really argue top 10 regardless of the player. But I feel like I'm in a place in my career where I want to be up near the top. So to see 8th place, two of the rounds, I don't feel like I gave it my best effort, or one round I didn't give my best effort. And that kind of cost me looking back.
So just to fill you in, because I'm not trying to correct what you know, but you actually did have 4 significant wins in 2018, Disc Golf Pro Tour Elite Series or Major, and they were LVC, GBO, Beaver State, and Kona Piste. So you had 4. I think this ties your record. Am I wrong? Do you know?
Yeah, it does. That was significant. I classify them different because the one was a major.
Okay.
I'd still say I put the major kind of a little above and beyond of what anything I won so far.
Okay.
Just because of that, the title, which is funny because, it's all the same players competing every week. And it's always the same level of competition, but, call it a major.
Okay.
But, if let's just say hypothetically I can win another event this year, then this is probably going to start looking like one of my best seasons, or if not the best season I've had.
Yeah. Statmando, go and research what's the most. Do you know the most that any pro player has won in a season? Because we just looked as far as 4 goes. So if we count you as having your 4th this year, and we only go back a decade, because a decade's pretty significant. There's only 2 other players besides you, Wysocki and Macbeth. Macbeth did it 6 years in 6 different years. Wysocki did it 2 different years. You've now done it. I know you classified it differently, but this could be your 2nd year if you want to look at it that way. You're on the right track. You're winning a lot. If you do win another one, I am curious. I didn't look this up beforehand. Will that be the most anybody's won in one season? I don't know.
For pro tours?
Elite and DGPT.
Well, Paul,
like NT.
Paul had the Grand Slam year in 2015, so that was 5 majors.
Okay.
That he had won. And so then, I'm sure there were other smaller Elite Series events that he might have won that year too.
You're on your way though, Eagle. You're on your way. That's the point. Come on, Eagles fly. Your documentary was great, by the way. How excited were you about that?
It was a huge honor. Brian Geis, who lives in Colorado, basically caught one of my Vlogmas episodes when I was doing that back in December, and I was talking about a trail we do, and he basically had a vision and he's like, Eagle, do you want to be a part of this? And I was like, of course. So it took about 4 or 5 days to shoot. I gave him access to basically all the photo archives that I have access to. So he used his creative genius to make it happen, and it's pretty humbling, and it's a huge honor that something that sentimental and meaningful is out on Jomez for people to watch. It feels like so many people can take like a deeper dive and see like where I came from, and that's a really cool thing. So I'm really proud of it, and thank you, Brian and Jomez, for making it happen.
Yeah. So pretty big news came out with Discmania. I don't know, do you call them your headline sponsor? I'm sure they are, but Discmania changing things up, producing their own plastic, their own molds. How does this leave you feeling about your future with Discmania? I think you had alluded somewhere that like you knew about this. Obviously, I say obviously, Nick. I say obviously.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sorry, we're working on not saying the word obviously over here on the Nick and Matt show.
I have some words like that where I just say them without even thinking. I feel you.
Yeah, what's funny is I don't even think I say that a lot outside of doing the podcast. So I think it's when I get in front of the camera, all of a sudden I'm just like, oh yeah, obviously this, obviously that. I'm like, why am I even saying this?
Okay.
Yeah.
So not obviously, but I am curious. I think I had heard that you knew about this during the contract season, if you will, that this was coming down the pipe. Did that play a part in it? And if not, regardless, this big announcement, how does it leave you feeling for your future with Discmania?
Yeah, I'll answer the first part of that question first. It played a major part in it, actually, because with the explosion of disc golf and, being kind of dictated by another company, we weren't really able to order as many discs as we wanted to. And basically, most professional disc golfers get paid off of royalties off discs sold, and if we couldn't make a disc with my name on it, then the contract's gonna other companies came at me with pretty sizable offers, and UC kind of had to tell me some secret news, which isn't secret anymore, that we were going to become our own manufacturer. And he's like, this is we're basically going to be like an Innova or a Discraft. There's going to be some gamble, but I ask you to take a chance and better offer than essentially the other guys gave. So I'm sure you could figure out who was knocking on my door. I don't want to name names, but Discmania put out the best offer because they're putting their money where their mouth was. And I looked at that and I said, okay, I've been a part of Discmania for 7 years. I got a really great family atmosphere. I know Simon really well. The guys back in Colorado, it's really cool. The Austin Montgomery, he's one of the guys who was instrumental. He is the director of operations, Discmania US, up in Fort Collins, Colorado, and he's basically hired on basically the whole warehouse is people I used to play with from Colorado event and growing up. So it really feels like the place I should be. So having that and then having, the new opportunity with the factory is just, I didn't have any reason to leave. And I think my future is very bright. I really like the new discs. I threw them all this past weekend with, not that much practice on it. At Worlds, they made the announcement, and a few weeks later they got approved. So, the DD3, the MD3, the P2, I threw those countless times this week, and I found really good success with them. So, I think that's proof that the product is good.
Okay. So
that's awesome.
Nick,
that was definitely one of the biggest things that people wanted to know was how is the new lineup treating you? And obviously it treated you well this weekend. We're excited to see it expand. And Matt, you were just about to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to just press on something just a little bit, Eagle. So can you just tell us you didn't want to name names. That's okay. I think we all speculated at some point. It's probably a manufacturer that starts with the letter D. We can at least get down to 2 with that one. The other thing is, are you telling me that like it was kind of a promise for the future to come, or was this a significant big contract? And are you not allowed to tell us the numbers?
I'm not going to say numbers, but I will say that it was guaranteed upfront money.
Okay.
So they put their money where their mouth was. It wasn't an IOU or saying, we're gonna do this if we do this. It was it made me happy.
Good.